Today I am talking about one of the many films from director Lucio Fulci to end up on the Video Nasties list. I'm of course referring to The House by the Cemetery.
Bobs was bringing home that trash!
This film is not only important to me because it's from the same trilogy as my favorite film ever and it's directed by my favorite director Lucio Fulci, but also because this kickstarted my passion for talking about gory, fun horror movies on the internet. Over 10 years ago I used to make videos in French when I was just a wee lad, and I decided to start a series where I would review every video nasty ever. I only talked about this film. Even then, I had commitment issues.
Who's Dr. Freudstein?
And I wasn't really even familiar with Italian horror cinema. Like I said, I just wanted to watch video nasties because the British government in the 80s told me that they were no, naughty, naughty, naughty. Which, as a kid, you're like, I want to see all of them. So, good job, Margaret Thatcher. You really accomplished what you wanted to. May you rest in piss. So I watched this film for the first time ever, and I absolutely fell in love with it. Not only for the gore, well, I was a teenager, so yeah, mainly for the gore, but also because it felt like something I never seen before. And that's how I learned about the wonderful world of nightmare logic that Fulci is so known for. And then, a couple weeks later, I would watch The Beyond, and that is now my favorite film ever.
The Freudstein keys.
And all of that got me where I am today, obsessed with Italian horror films even more than I was when I was just a teenager. The House by the Cemetery is very important, and just like The Beyond, I won't go into too many details because either you've already seen it multiple times if you're a cool guy, or if you've never seen this, you fucking should. I won't tell you twice. Send me your address, I'll drive to your house, and we'll sit down together and watch this goddamn movie if you haven't seen it. God damn it. So yeah, what is it about? That's a good question. It's kind of nonsensical. It starts off kind of like a slasher. You get this girl who is dressing up, and then we see the only nudity in this movie, sadly, and yeah, she's calling out for her boyfriend Steve. I guess they just made love in an old abandoned New England house that is situated next to a cemetery. That's what I call romance. Anyway, Steve doesn't answer her, and she gets stabbed in the back of the head, setting the mood for what this film is gonna be about. Then after the credits, we go to New York City, because Lucio Fulci loved setting his movies in New York City. We see a zoom out of a picture with a house in it and a little girl in the window. She is talking to one of our main characters, Bob, who's probably the biggest problem that people have with this film, since he seemed to have been dubbed by a 40-year-old woman. I don't know, the dubbing for Bob is really off-putting, and I feel like that's why most people don't like Bob. I personally don't think Bob is that bad. He's probably in the spectrum of annoying child characters in movies. He's nowhere near as annoying as the kid in The Babadook, he's just dubbed very poorly. As a character, he's honestly not even that bad. He reacts kind of realistically to a lot of the things that are happening around him. Anyways, he's talking to the picture frame. This movie happened way before autism diagnosis.
I guess she had something to do.
So yeah, he's talking to the frame, and then his mom, played by Katrina McCall, who kind of stars in all of these movies in the Gates of Hell trilogy, talks to him about how he should get his shit together because they're moving. Where are they moving? New Whitby, a made-up town in New England. You see, Katrina's husband is a researcher for the New York University, I guess, and he needs to go finish some research left to him by Peterson, who recently committed self-death. So we get a cameo by Fulci, because we always get one of those, and they talk about the research. We never really find out what kind of research he was doing, we just know that it's historical research, I guess.
School is over, I'll drive up there and see you.
So Katrina's husband accepts to finish the research since it's a bump in salary. Only thing is, they have to move out of New York and go into the countryside. Where they move into the house that was in the picture. And that's just one of the multiple weird things that happen in this film. Anyways, they go to New Whitby, they talk to the Miss Gittleson, who is the real estate agent, I guess, and she gives them the key for the Freudstein house, as they call it, or Oak Mansion, as the real estate agent calls it, because discussing Freudstein in New Whitby is a big no-no. Who is this Freudstein? He's a doctor from the 19th century who killed his family, I think, and then we get a representation of him as a zombie who sounds like crying children. That's probably the most messed up, disturbing part of this film, and every time I see the zombified corpse of Freudstein and then I hear children crying, I'm always very uncomfortable.
Well, call it what you will, but it's always been Freudstein's house.
Anyways, Bob is a little weirdo. Apparently he talks to this girl who was in the picture from the beginning, but nobody sees that the girl actually exists. Then they move into their house and it's already pretty weird. There's this door that is just nailed shut, so of course they try to open it, and it leads to the basement of horrors. The basement is where Freudstein does his stuff. By stuff, I mean kill and dismember people in very graphic ways. Then we are introduced to Bob's babysitter, who is played by a eyebrow girl from Suspiria. What's her name? What's her actual name? Because I actually love her as an actress. Anya Pieroni, who, as I said, is in Suspiria, also in Tenebrae, and in this. She just has very bushy eyebrows, but I'm still very much attracted to her. God damn. As soon as we're introduced to her, we realize that she's a bit of a weirdo. She just stares at people, she doesn't really say much, and she's just off-putting. It almost feels like she comes with the house. That's what you think until she gets decapitated. Foreshadowed by the little redhead girl looking at mannequins and one of them kind of looking like eyebrows and then getting decapitated, which is another weird thing that happens in this movie. Bob continues to talk about his new girlfriend, which even the babysitter is like, I've never seen the actual girl, which worries Catriona, because her kid is talking to people that don't exist. It's nothing to worry about, we all had, you know, imaginary friends growing up. Bob has this little red-headed girl, I had for some reason a Confederate soldier who talked to me about the benefits of the Confederacy. Yeah, I needed medication.
Where's the axe? Where's the damn axe?
Anyways, one thing leads to another. Norman, the husband, does some research, and then he realized that the previous doctor, Dr. Peterson, was researching Freudstein, which led him to be insane, which led him to kill his wife and then commit self-death, which is what we think, till we realize that Freudstein is kind of behind both of those things. And then we get the last act where it all goes to shit and we get the gore that Lucio Fulci was known for. And oh boy, is it glorious. The part where Miss Gittleson gets it, it's beautiful. There's so much red stuff. It sprays everywhere. It's great. The special effects are amazing. I love this goddamn movie so much. The only bad special effect is the bat that is now kind of infamous in this film. It just looks silly. We can clearly see the strings, but I don't think they made this and ever thought of it, you know, being on Blu-ray or 4K, so I can understand why it looks like that. That's House by the Cemetery. So, what are my final thoughts? I absolutely love this movie. As I discussed before, it's important in my personal life, but even if it wasn't, it's just a gosh darn great film. It's a great splatter film, it's a great atmospheric, nightmare logic film, it's beautifully shot, it's atmospheric, the acting is pretty good, Bob's dubbing is terrible, but you know, the rest of the movie, it's great. It really has that off-putting feel. I absolutely love this film. Is it my favorite from the trilogy? No, I'd say it's my least favorite. Next year, around Halloween time, I'll probably talk about my favorite, which is, no, not my favorite, my second favorite, which is City of the Living Dead. I just really love all of those movies. I just love Lucio Fulci. I'll definitely talk more about him in the coming year. Anyways, thank you guys for watching, and see you guys next time. Woo!